All right, I think we might be live here. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. All right, guys, I think we are officially live here on the channel. I'm trying a new setup here, so I never know when we go live. Who knows what we actually hear? Welcome to the Poker Live Podcast. My name's Yong, a.k.a. Chicago Joey, coming here from GTO headquarters in Las Vegas, Nevada. On the I got a little intro to do. Calm down, Rob. Don't get too excited about GTO yet. I got a little intro to do for Rob. We're going to be talking about the changes over at PartyPoker today. And we're going to be talking about Rob Young's $1 million high-stakes poker swings. I want to talk to him about the Phil Ivey baccarat case, which I'm doing an investigative video on right now. And Rob's in a very unique position as he has a casino that I imagine services baccarat players, right? Yeah, baccarat at the casino, right, Rob?
We don't have baccarat in the casino unless it's requested if we've got guests.
Okay, well then we might have a shot for this. This question is going to be very relevant to Rob. And yeah, let me just get into it, man. We also have podcasts coming up here next Monday. My man Nick Schulman. Tuesday, Scott Seaver. Wednesday, Fedor Holes. The week after that on Monday, Gus Hansen. And then Wednesday, October 2nd, Jason Somerville's coming on. So we got a great fucking lineup here, man. We're getting back after it really hard, and we're putting up some really great content as well. Stay tuned for that. Joining me today on the podcast is a young man. This guy is listen, man, he owns a casino. I think we all think about what would it be like to own a casino where people are coming in, they're drunk, they're tired, they're inebriated, they don't know what they're doing, and they are willing to risk hundreds of thousands of dollars under this circumstance. We've all wondered what that's like, right? Well, Rob's in the envious position to actually have that happen on a continuous basis. He also plays some of the highest stakes poker games all around the world. This man loves poker. I mean, this guy loves playing poker. I'm pretty sure he plays more poker than most professional poker players do. And Rob, I don't think he would consider himself a professional poker player unless you critique his play. Then he will challenge you to heads up and dedicate himself to fucking busting you as hard as he can. And also, he's a partner over at PartyPoker, GVC right now, helping to try to bring changes to PartyPoker. Some of them well-received, others not well received by the professional poker community, especially on 2+2. We're going to talk all about what those changes are on the podcast right now. Rob said he's open to answer any question, and I'm going to try not to get too out of line with my questions. We're joined by Rob Young. Rob, welcome back to the podcast, brother.
Hi, Joey. I'm just over here on EST time with you. I'm in New York. You can see the view from here.
The view. Show me this view, baby. Let me see. Oh, my God. New York is beautiful. Look at this place. Jeez.
Absolutely beautiful, this place.
That's not even the good. On the other side of the water is the view of Manhattan. So I think the other views coming from the other way is amazing too. So it's what are you doing out there, Rob? What are you up to in New York right now?
I've been over there. I've been in New Jersey to look at the new PartyPoker offices. They just moved into new offices just across the way there, next to the ferry stop. And obviously, with the regulation in the US, there's small hope for everybody that the bandwagon to get online poker legalized is possibly starting in a few states. So I decided to come over here, see the team and the guys over here. It's actually a completely separate company. It's a joint venture between MGM Group and GBC, and they're going to be running the US poker from New Jersey initially, and hopefully expanding it across the states. So I just came over here to see the guys and try and understand and see if I can help with anything.
Is there any truth to the rumor that you and Sheldon Adelson are having a cage fight for the future of online poker in America? I've heard there might be a rumor you and Sheldon Adelson, who's been a big proponent of speaking against online poker. Is that true?
Well, that's your honest truth. I don't know where you picked Sheldon Adelson's name.
I don't know how I found that out, but yeah, I did actually hear.
I've actually asked through some contacts of mine. I've requested to meet him 15 minutes of his time, and let's see whether he'll give me 15 minutes of his time. So I have actually managed to network through and contact him and see whether he'll give me a little bit of time. I just want to explain the difference in poker compared to other gaming like casino and sports. And there is 23 million people in America that play poker. Mm-hmm. It's just like in England, we have like fishing and bowls as like a recreational thing. In America, people have their Monday night game, their Thursday night game. It's in the culture, and it probably never meet me, but I've actually managed to network through to try and at least request just to meet the guy for a cappuccino and try and explain to him how much of a community community activity poker is. I always say about my dad, he's 82 years old. He'd probably be like not even coherent now if he wasn't playing poker every night in my casino. It's just such a good community and social activity. I think poker, as long as you're playing within your limits, is like really good for people. It's one of the things you can play at any age, any sex, anybody can sit down at the table together and get to know new people. So I'm like really pro poker as an activity for human beings.
Yeah, I agree. I think that also when you take a look at how American poker players are being put in these very uncomfortable spots for the people that do continue to play, in that the sites that they play on aren't regulated in a majority of states in America. So they have to go to these, the dark web, sort of measured in like kind of a little extreme, but they're going to these app sites where they're sending money to random people that they meet at the 2-5 game at the Win. They're going through sites that, who knows what exactly these sites are up to. The sites don't necessarily have a great history. So I think when you take a look at those things, it's, I feel like America needs regulated online poker. Obviously, I'm not saying something that hasn't been said a million times here, but when you take a look at how people are getting taken advantage of that just don't know any better, it's, and you could say people that play online maybe get taken advantage of by people that use software or any programs like that. But I believe that regulation can maybe put a stop to those type of things, because if you get caught using some of this software, using a bot, they might send you to fucking jail for a long time. Who knows what exactly might happen in terms of if you try doing that with regulated online poker.
There is people playing, obviously, on illegal sites or on sites that aren't supposed to be taking American players. I don't think these sites are dark. I just think they're looking at opportunities and they're willing to take the risk. I think the sites we know are ACR, PP Poker, things like that. I think these guys they operate in the grey area and they try and do the right things. I don't think it's like a dark industry that you can't trust. However, I do think there's 23 million people in America, and if you actually I googled legalized online poker in America and went through the first 3 pages, and there's nothing happening. Nobody's actually pushing for poker. I think one of the issues is that poker stars are blacklisted in some of the big states like California. So then they're obviously the biggest. They're not going to make an effort for poker. PartyPoker have really been focusing on worldwide, so they're not really pushing. 88 William Hill focused on sports and casinos. So it's actually interesting. There's actually no one lobbying significantly and no one pushing, no one trying to make some moves to try and speed up the process. And it seems kind of ridiculous how the states eventually are going to, most of the states will allow online poker. Someone needs to be kind of saying, this is what the tax rate should be. This is what works in the UK. Like in the UK, 15% tax. Also, and UK players can play against everyone around the world. Gambling Commission in the UK is happy. Lots of synergy between the UK and the US. I don't know whether I'm going to make a big effort on it yet, I'll be honest. I'm just poking my nose in and seeing what's going on. But maybe there's something, some lobbying, get together, get the players together, get key organisations, key casinos together. Everyone joins forces and starts discussing things in a sensible way rather than being angry. Being angry and saying the government's rubbish and this is rubbish is not going to get things done quicker. So I'm just thinking in my mind, could something be done and coordinated that was like a pressure group or what was not angry about what's happened, was more proactive. So that's why I've come over here to see the new PartyPoker offices in New Jersey. Very nice. I'm going to go over to MGM Borgata probably tonight and have a look at that casino, who are one of our partners. Maybe we even look at doing an event in Atlantic City as well, because they are, MGM are one of our big partners now in the US. So I'm just on like a scoping mission, and I have had a lot of people private message me on Twitter. They don't realize that I'm nothing to do with the US. I'm just focusing and helping on .com. But they're like, why aren't you working on the US? Why is PartyPoker not doing anything? So it just kind of stimulated me to take a peek. So that's why I'm over here at the moment. And also, a few of my friends, we're getting together and we're playing a little small cash game for a few nights while I'm out here, which is legal, by the way, in New York, because the game's not ranked. Remember the Phil Molly's game?
Oh, I do remember the Phil Molly's game.
I kind of want to feel a bit like that in New York. So we're playing a friendly little game out here as well.
Yeah, I love how dramatic that movie was. It was like the game was legal, and they made such an emphasis on how the game was legal. And then finally, all of a sudden, she points at the dealer, and the dealer just takes like $1,000 out of the pot, and then it's like, oh, now it's illegal. It's okay. It's
I watched the film, and I wanted to come and play poker in New York as well and feel that vibe. So I'm over here looking at the US online poker situation, trying to understand a bit more, but also I'm playing poker in the evenings. So I'm here till probably Tuesday.
A lot of tough regulars in this game, Rob, or would you say the game's maybe made up more of an amateur style player?
It's all non-pro.
Did they get a chance to see you make that 3 times pot call with the pair and flush draw on Poker After Dark as well too, or was that just me that seems to love that hand?
I actually folded a set in Hold'em last night.
Stop it.
So
don't lie. You told me you're not. You don't lie. You folded a set. Did he bet? What did he bet? 55 times the pot on a all mono board or what?
I went all in on the end, and there was a straight on there. I folded.
I got to see the hand. Are they recording this game? Robin,
yeah, I'm enjoying being in America. It's really, really nice. I feel sorry for the American people that they can't play online poker. Maybe there's something. Thing is, in life, if you don't try, you're never going to get anywhere.
That's true.
Often, when I try and get involved in these, or look to get involved in these impossible situations, a bit like PartyPoker trying to rise from the ashes again. Everyone said to me, "You're wasting your time. Don't bother with PartyPoker. They're a rubbish company."
Bang, bang.
I'm kind of looking at this American situation. It's a free roll. At the moment, nothing's happening. Even if you could help like 1% or do something, I think, give an idea. Too many people, I think, just give up before they start on these impossible things.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that's a big difference between someone like yourself and a majority of people is that a lot of people just say no chance, it can't be done, and they're so I don't know, man. A lot of people have this lack of belief in a lot of these ideas, and even if they can't be done, it could be worth trying out the idea too. So
Joey, I have my alarm call at 2 p.m. Let me just get rid of it.
Go ahead, get it. Shout outs early. I don't know what Rob's up to over there. Big shout out to people in the chat. We got Ryan McCormick out there. Hey, Ryan seems like just like one of those guys out there, man. We got Ryan. He appears to be a professional computer expert in the chat. Thank you, Ryan, for taking the time out of your busy day to enlighten us with your computer expertise. Thank you very much, Ryan. We're very happy to have you here, buddy. Thank you. All right, what was that? An alarm call? What was that?
I set an alarm call for your interview in case I slept because I was playing late last night. So I just got rid of it.
You set it for 25 minutes after we were supposed to start. Okay. You're on the ball, kid.
Yeah, I mixed up with the times. So, yeah, I'm interested in the American thing, poking around. And, well, again, I think the point is that if you don't try, you don't get anywhere.
Right.
And I always have this phrase, God loves a tryer. Most of the time it doesn't work out. But, you know, if you just give up on everything, on all the impossible things, then nothing ever changes. Mm-hmm. And I think certainly when I first decided to work with GVC on the PartyPoker project, a lot of people were saying, you completely waste your time. PartyPoker's reputation is dust. And I think, you know, since PartyPoker's not big, I mean, it's tripled in size, which is not too bad. But I definitely think where PartyPoker is standing now, people didn't expect it a few years ago. Well, people do forget that at the time, a few years ago, everyone was thinking that PartyPoker was just a piece of rubble on the ground. Well, so it's a bigger piece of rubble now, but it's not like a boulder yet.
So I guess basically what you're saying is that even though in your mind and a lot of people's mind, they feel like you're not only wasting time with PartyPoker on this project and with worrying about United States legislation, the state of online poker in America, it still sounds like you love poker. It's something you're very passionate about, something you enjoy doing. And even if there isn't a great chance that you can have a major impact, there is a chance you can have some type of small impact. And that's something that you feel passionate enough about to pursue and put your time into. Yeah,
you just never know.
Right.
Sometimes you get situations where no one's trying. Like no one was trying to compete with PokerStars. No one's really trying to push the US market. And because no one's trying, it almost looks a more of a desperate situation. So sometimes when you do try, there is actually some moves to be made. And I remember when we talk about my casino a lot, which is a hobby of mine 10, 12, 13 years ago. If we remember rightly, the only reason that I opened my casino was because I was 10 minutes late for a poker tournament. So I said, fuck it, let's open our own casino and let's have late registration and be better for the players. And at the time, everyone said to me, there's one license left in the UK and there's 3 major companies apply for this license. You've got no chance. And I said, well, I've definitely got some chance. I've not got 0. It might be 0.5%, 1%. And we ended up beating LCI, Genting and Grosvenor for that license. They gave it to an independent, a bunch of jockeys like us. So that was like an impossible thing that happened. And I remember the 3 casinos, they took me to court saying that the license shouldn't go to us. We got the last license in the UK that was ever going to get given. So that was an impossible job. And it's amazing. I mean, I think pretty high hit rate on these impossible jobs, to be honest with you, because no one else is trying. So it's like, it looks impossible, whereas sometimes these matters are not impossible. They're looking impossible because no one gives a shit. So if you start to give a shit and do and work, sometimes you can have more of a positive impact than you think. That's what I'm thinking about the US situation. Have a look at it. It's ridiculous that 23 million people can't play poker. The PartyPoker situation. We had a look at it. We've tried our best. I'll be honest with you, it's not going as well as I'd hoped this year. Everyone's working their socks off. The structure of PartyPoker, which a lot of people probably don't understand, is that you have PartyPoker and you have GVC. GVC is the big holding company that owns Ladbrokes, Coral, BWin. The software, tech and development is based in GVC. So PartyPoker has to request software improvements to GVC. So when people come on saying PartyPoker software, it's a load of rubbish, it's terrible, how can you do these things? We kind of handcuffed to a certain extent because the agreement that PartyPoker made with GVC was that GVC would do the software development. And then you've got to take the plus and the minus, because when GVC agreed to invest in poker, and they invested a lot of money in poker, I've invested some as well, I'll be honest, in PartyPoker. GVC said that they wanted to keep software development. They wouldn't give it to PartyPoker. So it's plus and minus. We got a company like GVC to support poker, but obviously we're having problems. We've had problems developing the software. So you can't have everything in life, Although I do think over the next 6-12 months, significant improvements will be made in the software. But a lot of people don't understand that our software development is not done by PartyPoker. It's done by the holding company, GVC.
Yeah, that's definitely a comment I've seen when we talked about doing the podcast, and when I read through the 2+2 poker forums. There is some software comment, but I do believe the software has been improved over time as well too. But there's always more requests for improvements from customers out there.
And the managing director, Tom Waters, I think Tom only 34 years old now. He's put someone knocking at the door.
Visitor. Another shout out option. Look at Rob. Rob's got people coming by. Maybe he's going to start up a game right now. You never know. We got my man David Huber on the chat. What's up, David? Always doing great work out there for the reporting in the poker world. Oh, legislation as well. He's back.
What I was saying was people understand the structure. You have Tom Waters, who's the managing director, a very young guy, close friend of mine. He has no software developers working for him. He has to deal with GVC, who do the software development. So that's been the problem. And up until 3 months ago, GVC were the same guy was developing a casino, developing sports, and developing poker. So obviously, poker's going to go down to the bottom of the list commercially for GVC's priorities.
Right.
3 months ago, Tom went to GVC and said, "Listen, give me some help. Give me my own poker dedicated development team. Split it into buckets. Split it into mobile, HTML, ops and tasks." Ecology. We've grown the business for 3 years. We've proved ourselves. Will you give us our own dedicated team? And GVC said, okay, we'll give you it. So now for the last 3 months now, Tom's been able to recruit 25, 30 developers who are just going to develop the poker product.
Nice.
So you imagine before, one guy's sitting there, he's doing some development on casino, development on sports, development on poker. It wasn't focused. So now Tom has managed to lobby GBC for this dedicated product development resource. You're going to see a lot of improvements in product now.
So you think over the next 6 months, 7 months, we're going to see different? Is there any sort of specific improvement you have in mind that might be more requested than others, or is it just more general things here and there that you guys decide?
We've got a specific roadmap. Tom's going to try and catch up with a lot of the requests from players. Running Twice Up should be ready in November. King of the Hill on Heads Up should be ready in November. With lots of improvements. I mean, the big change, because the roadmap was done. So we've always had the roadmap, full plan to we always said PokerStars is 10 out of 10, and we want to get PartyPoker to like 8.59 out of 10. So we did the roadmap 2 or 3 years ago to get there. We've just not managed to get the roadmap done. So the plan's the same. Mm-hmm. The mobile product, we've got dedicated 22 people now developing the mobile product. So I guess my point is now that a lot of complaints about software, but I just want people to understand that it wasn't within PartyPoker or Tom's control until about 3 months ago.
Okay.
So now we can expect some improvements. And I think the biggest improvement will be on mobile, I'll be honest.
Well, let's talk about some of these changes that PartyPoker's made. Some not very popular amongst the professional poker player community over on 2+2. Obviously, I got my start on 2+2 through that community as well, so I greatly sympathize with those players, and I'd like to point out some of the concerns and the issues that they have with some of the changes that have been made. I think we're going to start off with the banning the heads-up displays. So you guys announced some changes, and we're going to roll through some of these changes here and kind of get your thoughts on why exactly you decided to do this. Now, heads-up displays, for anyone that doesn't know, it's what happens is you have a program that will then, your hand histories will go into the program. The program will then output something that has the statistics that you choose by the screen names as you accumulate more hands over them. So if you play 1,000 hands with somebody, you have 1,000 hands, you have the VPIP, you have their PFR. Now, not everybody uses a heads-up display, so the people that do use this are thought to be at an advantage. What Rob and PartyPoker has decided to do is they've decided to then ban this HUD from being used, but what I'm told is happening is that, and this is what happens on the other sites, is then third-party illegal software tools pop up. So now the people that are willing to break the rule to use the HUD are still able to use the HUD in this situation. The people who don't want to break the rules aren't able to use the HUD, and the players before that weren't using a HUD still aren't using a HUD. So what are kind of your thoughts on that specific situation and the idea of getting rid of HUDs and getting rid of hand histories for players to go over?
Well, I mean, first of all, this wasn't an immediate reaction. It was something that we wanted to do 2 years ago, but we hadn't managed to develop our risk systems so we could detect illegal usage. So we had to delay it. And once we felt comfortable that we could police it and manage it, we then banned heads-up displays. So there's a bit of confusion between heads-up displays and hand history. So let me first of all say they're a separate issue.
Okay.
A heads-up display needs hand histories being downloaded to work. But there's nothing wrong with people, in my opinion, with people seeing their own hand histories. So our first stage with the HUDs was to cut the hand histories from being downloaded. And the reason we had to do that was because players created a hand history converter, which actually read the hand histories, was able to unanonymize them, and effectively people could then use their HUD freely. So that's why we cut the hand histories. But in terms of getting rid of the HUDs aren't going to be here in the future anyway. So PokerStars will get rid of them, pretty sure. It's just that PartyPoker were brave enough to do it first. I wouldn't ever see a situation where heads-up displays were brought back into PartyPoker, and I can't see a situation where they're ever a single argument that they're good for poker. However, by us saying cutting the HUDs off by not allowing the download of hand histories, we then created another product called My Game, which is being launched in the next couple of weeks. It's been beta for the last month or so, and players will be able to go into My Game at the top of the PartyPoker client, look at all their hand histories, look at their results. I saw the prototype yesterday, and if the player wants to export those hand histories, they can click export and they'll be able to export those hand histories into their own tools, into their own database to look at themselves and improve their game, which is the argument from the player. However, because we've actually created this tool called My Game, which prevents anyone from converting their hand histories to show their opponent's names, we're in control. Previously, when the hand history had been taken from the client, they were able to hand grab and create unanonymized hand histories. So we wanted to make sure absolutely 100% that we could eliminate HUDs from the business. And we wanted to make sure 100% that when we gave players access to their hand histories, they would be anonymized. So it's Jerry Ingram, player 1, player 2, player 3, shows their hand, etc. So the two different scenarios, in my opinion. And I believe from in a week or 2 weeks' time, when the My Game module is put into PartyPoker, Jerry Ingram just clicks on My Game. He can click on export hand histories, and he gets all the hand histories. So it's all about policing and about being sensible. Now, the last question you asked about people creating these super HUDs. Well, we've already closed down 4 of them. So there's been 4 attempts so far to create a HUD that would work on PartyPoker. Now, I have friends of mine continually trying to buy a HUD a super HUD that can work on PartyPoker. So I've offered a lot of money to buy it myself. So as soon as one comes on the market, I get it. I'm in every group. I mean, all my friends are in all the bot groups, the HUD groups, the grinder groups. So there's nothing going on in this industry that I don't know about. So far, I've purchased 4. And instantly, within 24 hours, we were able to deactivate their usage on PartyPoker.
So it sounds like it's something where you guys have to fight against the third-party softwares. And these obviously, all these won't be made public. So there are going to be someone who's able to buy something from someone, and maybe they spend enough money where they just have, I know this has happened in the past, where you have the only copy because you work with someone directly and you buy the only copy. So if those programs are out there, how are you going to be able to stop those without being able to purchase those programs?
Well, just like in any activity in the world, if someone is a silent assassin who's going to keep the information to themselves, you're going to get people that slip through the net. That's not a lie. But thus far, the 4 attempts to create a new HUD that will work on PartyPoker, they've all been private, they've all been built privately, and they've all been trying to sell them or rent them to their friends. People get greedy, you know?
Right.
Human nature is. And to be fair, 3 out of the 4 didn't work properly anyway. One of them was able to work reasonably well. It was very slow, very cumbersome. I mean, on a 15-second decision time, it's really difficult for it to work. So there's been 4 pretty crappy attempts so far, and all have been dealt with. But if I'm offering X thousand for live solvers that work on PartyPoker, or HUDs that can work on PartyPoker, I'm in the network. I'm finding out what's going on. And I mean, literally, there's like Skype groups with like 60 people in who use types of tools. I just have a guy in that group, and he just posts me, this is what's happening.
You can't tell them you got the CI, the confidential informant in the group. Now they know they're in the group. Now they're gonna vet their group. Now FBI doesn't tell them they got the informant in the group. Never mind. There's a reason why you would say that if you didn't have an informant in the group, though. I can see merit for both sides of this one. Okay.
I don't care what people think. What people would think whether I had an informant in these groups or not. I mean, the fact is I have.
Okay. Well, now they're gonna vet the group. You can't tell them you got the CI in the group. Come on, you gotta.
But if I'm paying the guy, he's not gonna admit it, is he?
We'll see. I guess one big comment, shout out to Ryan in the chat. Ryan, I've been reading your messages. I understand. Like I said, I get it. I don't need you to say the same thing the entire conversation. I understand, not to be mean or anything to you like that, because I appreciate you at least contributing in the chat. Ryan points out, and many others, and it sounds like what you're saying is that, so Ryan says, okay, people can use a second computer. For the real-time software, for bots, for all these things like that, you have screen grabbers on second computers that can then run the program there and then tell you what to do, and you can do it on this other computer like that. So it sounds like what you're saying is that thing's always going to happen, and you can try to put a stop to that, but you're more worried about the commercial programs that more than one person is using out there and putting a stop to those and then doing your best to combat those other programs that are run that way.
First of all, and Patrick Leonard and myself get very frustrated about this. A HUD gives you a small edge over another regular player. It doesn't give you an edge over a recreational player who's not played like thousands of hands. So this HUD idea that a HUD is like an amazing way of winning a poker, it's just completely exaggerated.
Right.
It's a very small edge over a reg. Yeah. So even if someone wants to spend thousands and thousands, what it cost them to develop something that would screen grab, dump it all down, get the hand histories. Even if somebody wants to do this, they're not going to be having like a massive advantage anyway. It's perceived that way. The real problem is people developing automated bot solvers to use in live real time. So everyone's kind of really missing the point about what the danger to poker is. The danger to poker is a program that tells you how to play perfectly.
So you're referring to the real-time software programs that exist out there, correct?
Well, it's a bit of a secret. Players won't admit they exist. So
well, okay, I'll tell. Well, first of all, it's been around for a while. I've been mentioning this for years on the podcast. The reason it's a secret is because there's absolutely no incentive to ever let someone know that things like this may or may not exist from anyone involved in poker, whether you're on the poker company side or you're on the player side. And if you're a player that's using one, obviously you want to discuss this as least as you possibly can because you don't want more people to use them too.
Let's address 2 points.
Okay.
Is there computer programs out there that run live that tell you how to play perfect GTO? Yes, there is, because I've seen them, even at PLO. Yeah. However, let's address the second issue. Can they be caught? Answer: 1,000,000%. Because they leave a fingerprint. So if you use the Jerry Ingram GTO solver, I know every hand you play.
Do you?
When I say I mean the algorithms. We can pick up Jerry Ingram is playing perfect poker. So we can then contact you, say, Jerry, we like you, we trust you, but do us a favor. Just play an hour of poker for us and we'll watch you. And then obviously you play differently to the way you've been playing with your bot or your solver. We close your account, yeah?
Okay.
That's not a problem. The problem is then you then just go to your friend and use his account. So we're chasing you all the time.
Right.
So what I'm trying to say is all this bullshit that's going around about this and that, these aren't the real problems. The problem is not HUDs or someone creating some super HUD. The problem is not catching bots and solvers, because you can catch them. It's easy. The problem is they just open a new account. So the way to actually stop this happening is to actually interrogate every new account or reactivated account as soon as they start that day. So you stop, and that cuts the legs off. But one of the issues with online poker is most of the people in the online poker business are not business people. They were here when the good times were there, when anyone could have made money. What we have to do with online poker is treat it like a business professionally. Look at the loopholes. And Joey Ingram creates his super solver. Can we catch?
Why are you out in my solver, bro? I don't get this. What's going on here? I thought we were you're out in my solver.
I'm using you as an example. So you create your super solver. Can a site catch you? 100%, because you leave an algorithm fingerprint of the way that you play. You then go and say to your friend, can I use your account? Yeah. Then we have to catch your friend's account.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just a lot of hard work to manage the situation. But we shouldn't be panicking again and saying, oh, the whole world's going to pieces, negative. We should just deal with it as a business. And there's not many business people in online poker. It's this problem is, dare I say the word, solvable.
So you're creating the solver to solve this issue.
I'm never going to disclose our algorithms or what solvers we have outside. I'm never going to talk about the weapons that we have in the war. But it's not such the whole world's going to end tomorrow. The only reason it will end is if we don't police it professionally.
Right. So you're saying that, so people still mention, they still talk about the other computer things. So when I've seen how a lot of these program works, or some they can run obviously on the computer you have, but they can also work on the second computer.
You're missing the point.
Okay.
You can plug in 1,000 computers. If you're playing perfect poker,
right,
we can catch you.
But then you can work in
contact.
deviation to the strategy in that it doesn't always play perfect as well too, which makes it harder to catch. Which, I mean, we're talking about things that, like how relevant is this stuff or not is a good question.
How
But
much can you deviate? How much can you deviate from the strategy and still be profitable?
well, that's a good question, right? I'm sure that the smartest poker players out there can figure that out. I'm sure you
Show
can
me.
program things in there and you can do things on your own. If you're already a great poker
Okay,
player.
Joey.
What?
Okay, Joey. Let's say you deviate from the strategy and you're still winning.
Okay.
You're going to leave the new fingerprint, the new Jerry Ingram adjusted GTO winning strategy.
Right. So anyone that's winning. But I'm asking these questions because these are the questions people want to know. Okay, so the answers to you might seem easy, but to people out there, these are things they're really worried about. So they need to be addressed. They need to be clarified because people got to know these things.
But I want to understand that every winning player leaves a fingerprint of his style of play.
Mm-hmm.
So if you adjust your GTO strategy to look more like a human, okay, you're still going to leave a fingerprint. Mm-hmm. So PokerStars, PartyPoker can see Jerry Ingram is winning. Let's investigate it. Yeah, and then we contact you. We say play for an hour, and if you play different, we close your account and you bar.
Fuck. Okay, simple.
So it's just like being the police. It's not the big deal that everyone's making out. However, the issue with this is that our online companies going to invest this amount of money to catch and police when online poker is in decline.
Right. That is the question.
Yes. So catching, policing, dealing with, no problem. Our online companies don't actually care. If you look at the news today, microgaming shutting down,
mm-hmm.
PokerStars making redundancies. The poker business is shrinking. 888 was it 30% down year on year? PokerStars 12% down year on year. Microgaming shutting. So that's less money to invest in risk and compliance and controls. That is the danger to online poker. I want people to listen and understand that it's not, we can't solve these problems. It's whether our online companies are going to invest the money to solve these problems.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
I do. That makes sense.
Good man.
That makes sense. I mean, so you're saying Phil Nagy down in Costa Rica maybe not invest in the proper amount of money needed to fight this problem, because it sounds like not only do you have to invest the money, but then you have to know what the hell to invest the money in. And I think when Phil Nagy was on the podcast, that's what he talked about was his biggest challenge. He said, well, we want to stop it. We just don't necessarily know where to go or know how to do it or know exactly what to build. It sounds like it needs to be some sort of thing where the companies need to cooperate in a way which, I don't think is going to happen necessarily, because that means that you're then improving a competitor. But for the overall health of the industry,
I am very much trying, and John Duffy's working on the project at the moment to get the companies to work together against these problems.
Mm-hmm.
If we all pooled financial money together, we could fix them together. So, everyone's interest to not have these problems for online poker. So yes, you have ACR, you have these other companies. I'm not saying they don't know what to do, but we could we or PokerStars or other people could help these companies and show them the algorithms. We could share information together. But I mean, I know it's a commercial world, and I'm not sure whether online companies will ever work together. Right. However, saying that, you still got to try, yeah?
Right, I agree.
Back to our original conversation 15 minutes ago. If you just stay negative, nothing happens. So I would love all our companies to work together to manage and police these issues. I would like the smaller companies. Let's take Phil Galfond over at Run It Once. Mm-hmm. Committed guy, cares about the business, but is he going to be able to invest enough money based on percentage of his revenue into risk and controls? Why for the good of poker wouldn't everyone just help each other a little bit with advising and swapping some information without breaking any GDPR rules? I just ask the questions, maybe they don't always come off, but some of it comes off. I'm pretty sure that if we got a 32-player bot ring from, don't want to pick on a country X, I'm pretty sure that PartyPoker would have no problem saying to PokerStars or 888, watch out for these guys. And then you're on alert, aren't you? It's a bit like, if you think about Interpol, you think about all the different countries, the police do cooperate with each other, don't they? They do tip off things, the French government, the English government. And I think with online poker, we could work together a lot more. And I don't see the problem with helping each other, because if online poker goes down for everybody, it's bad for everybody.
Right.
So, and also with online poker, without competition, how the market doesn't work.
So it sounds like I'm reading through some 2+2 questions. So hand histories are going to come back through something in the client where you can then export those hand histories.
Click on my game, click on export, export your results and hand histories. They'll be in a CSV file format, which you'll be able to upload into Poker Tracker, Hold'em Manager with your 888 and PokerStar stats, and just use it as normal. But you will not have your opponent's names.
Okay. It's
fundamentally not right that me and you play poker together and some other guys should have our hand histories.
Okay.
So it will say player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4, and you can see how much you lost with ace king across all sides, etc., and have your results. And so the only thing we are going to end up taking away is the predatory statistics on your opponents. So
the motivation for these changes, right? Why make these changes? Who decided to make these changes, and what's the reason to do it?
Honestly, let's be honest, me.
You just decided these things need to be done. We need to do something different. Everyone's doing things this one way. It's not working. It's going downhill right now. We got to try something different.
We all agreed, myself, Tom, all the key people, Ross, we agreed that we were committed to, no matter what the cost to the business, we were committed to leveling the playing field as much as possible in poker. So if Jerry Ingram is a more skillful player than Rob Yong, he's going to win. We accept that.
We do. And we're acknowledging we accept that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was an example, though. So we signed up to that 2 or 3 years ago together. We had a meeting. We believe poker should be fair. And so whenever we make a decision, we don't make the decision in revenue terms. Just for example, I believe the bots that we've shut down this year raised 10 million GGR last year on PartyPoker. So we've lost 10 million in revenue. Now, no company's going to do that unless they're stupid, are they? And we're pretty stupid, you know. But it's for the good of the game. We want to do things for the good of the game. And I sold that idea to the guys at PartyPoker. I said throughout my whole business life, every decision I made is one that I want to get up in the morning, look at myself in the mirror and say, did I do the right thing? And I said, all those decisions have ended up good for me in the future. Even though there were stupid decisions to the present, it's always come good. So I sold PartyPoker the common idea. Do the right thing and it comes good. So it's probably a commercially silly thing, because some of the bots that we shut down were losing accounts. To have a massive purge and crucify 10 million worth of revenue last year. And not just bots, because let's just remember, a bot is not like someone sitting there like on the film Will Smith, I, Robot. It's players using technology.
Okay.
So, in answer to your question, the motivation is to do the right thing. But that's not a charitable motivation. It's based on the business principle that if you keep doing the right thing, you'll be successful. Mm-hmm. So it's not about just being a crusade to, we are devout people and we'll do the right thing and we'll be good people. It's the belief that doing the right thing and being good people ends up translates into profit in the future. Yeah, a great example of that is what happened in the US. PartyPoker pulled out of the US market, did the right thing, listened to the government, yeah? PokerStars and some other companies stayed in. 10 years later, PartyPoker is going to be looked upon a lot more favorably in the US market when it goes back in terms of regulation, in terms of the players. The players know that PartyPoker does the right thing. So karma might come back. And I'm absolutely sure that if the US does open up in the future, that PartyPoker would be the #1 online site. because of what they did 10 years ago by holding their hands up and saying, okay, we'll do what you'll say, Mr. US government.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an example of a decision that really hurts your business. But somehow, in some way, car works out for you. Now, of course, shutting 10 million worth of bots is a black and white decision. You should absolutely do it. Do other companies take that approach? I'm not sure. I couldn't comment, but just doing the right thing translates into profit at some time in the future. The problem is you don't know when your chips are going to come in the future.
Right.
You could end up being broke by then. But so far, in my life, that's the principle that I've always lived by, and it's come good. I'm 46 now, so hopefully it won't come bad. I haven't got long left.
Do you? I'm gonna get to a couple more 2+2 questions actually first here. So another common thing I've seen is that a lot of times in the past in the online poker world, the players themselves who've had access to the hand histories are the ones who are helping catching these people that are getting out of line and colluding or working together or running bots on the sites. So now a lot of people are worried that that's not going to be possible anymore, and they have to put their entire faith into the security of PartyPoker. And obviously with the track record of security with online poker sites in the past, people are hesitant to do that. So what would you say to the people out there who have those concerns about putting all their faith in that?
I would make the first point that out of the amount of accusations that come from players, less than 1 in 5 prove to be accurate. So Joey Ingram plays against Rob Yong, loses to Rob Yong, reports Rob Yong as a bot. That's what happens all the time, yeah?
Yeah, right, okay.
But I believe that, like,
fantasy world here, okay.
You know, it creates an awful lot of work for the wild goose chasers. So 4 out of 5 times you're on a wild goose chase here. So usually with 1 possible. Out of the 1 possible, again, 1 out of 5 is true.
That sounds like a lot to me. I mean, 1 out of 5 things being true, that sounds like a lot. And you get it. I mean,
no, it's 1 out of 5 times 1 out of 5, Joey.
Okay.
So first report comes in, Joey Ingram is using a bot. Only 20% is worth investigating. Out of the 20% that gets investigated, only 20% ends up being true. Just 1 in 5 times 1 in 5. So the amount of time, the first point I want to make, the amount of time by saying to the players, please find our cheats and clues and bots for us, is monumental.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, so my second point is that out of the 1 in 5 times 1 in 5, 70% of those cases we knew about anyway, and we're already under investigation.
Mm-hmm.
So I know the players. Listen, everyone knows that I care about the players. I know the players think that they are gonna be like, are the perfect detectives. But to be honest with you, the players don't add the value they think by fighting Joey Ingram as X, Y, and Z. You know,
ACR would beg to differ with you on this particular topic, but I see what you're saying.
Oh, listen, I mean, I don't really know ACR. I've never seen their site. I don't know about them. If they're doing a brilliant job, then fantastic. But what I'm saying is that from a risk point of view and from a cashing in point of view, I don't see the players as key participants in that process.
Right.
Right. I don't think the impact is as much as the players think they are. The players don't have access to every hand that has ever been played on the site. We have a database. I don't want to go into too much because I don't want to give too much away. But we have on PartyPoker every hand that's been played against each other on the table, on the IP address. So we have a full main statistics. We can then do a statistic, create a fingerprint for every player. So we can tell when Joey Ingram's not playing and Rob Yong's playing on his account, just on the basis that where he did his mounts.
Okay.
So with the greatest will in the world, the site is a site that's committed is much more effective, and the player shouldn't have to be for us. So that's my point 2. you know. And my final point would be on in terms of the reports that players send in. The reports that players send in don't say these are these 96 hands and this person played on this statistic, this statistic, this statistic, so therefore they're a bot. 90% of the reports for players are, I played against this guy, he's unbeatable, I'm sure he's a bot. So they're not even using the hand issues to come to conclusion. You know?
There's a little bit of audio. Sorry for that, guys out there listening to this on iTunes or watching this on YouTube. But yeah, that's a little bit of the kind of crackling with the lag there. Rob's in the hotel right now, but I think you guys can all understand his point. And I want to move on to another topic. I'm sure the people out there that disagree, I'm sure they're going to have their feedback. And, you know, it continues on forever. It never ends. So we're going to go to something else, a big change, which is real names versus not real names. So on Party Poker, seems like you're going with everyone must use a real name at higher stakes. And then at lower stakes, you have an option for real names versus normal names tables. And obviously people are upset about this because they think that recreational players won't want to show their real names. They don't want to show their real names. And they think that it does more harm than good for the games. Why did you go with this decision to have real names on the site?
Well, I mean, we gave an option. We have optional tables at all stakes below 10.25, so that's not really like relevant. People can choose what they want to play, so that doesn't affect the high stakes. I think the idea of high stakes was to say let's play under our real names is come from players. To be honest with you, the players. Players. 9 out of 10 high stakes players were in favour of this, and also the second point on high stakes is it's pretty much there's no high stakes action online anymore. So
you might need to go out and come back to the meeting, Rob, because the audio is kind of breaking up a little bit here.
What should I do?
Just close it out and then come back in, see if that works. Now you guys get to see me blown up here big. You only get to see my face on the half. Let's get some shout outs here. Let me get in here. Who we got in the mix? We're still figuring this new setup out here, guys. Yorkshire Pudding in the mix. What's up, Yorkshire? What's happening, man? Wayne Chiang. I got to get these things worked out here, don't I? Joel Bradenberg. What's up, Joel? What's happening, man? It's this whole conversation about bots HUDs is boring to me because I think online poker needs to all go away. Well, then you're watching the wrong fucking podcast, buddy. David Hubert, TLG parent, Jimmy out there in the chat. What else we got out there, man? We got a lot of people. Do we? Okay, Rob's back. Hello. Ding dong.
Are we back?
Yeah, put that video back on again. Remember, bottom left corner. Hit that arrow.
Yeah.
But bam. There we go. Beautiful. All right, we're back.
Okay, so let me just continue where I was saying about the high stakes and the real names on high stakes. That actually came as a suggestion from a panel of high stakes players that we spoke to that they felt that people should be playing and not disguising their identity at those stakes. But just one comment on the real names. I mean, we will start to market and work on the real names actually from the live event satellites. In a couple of weeks' time, we will start our live event satellites. We're playing against the real names, and we'll start to market and start from there. So we started with that project, which is why we kept optional cash games. It's not on fast forward, and at high stakes we made it compulsory because we had no high stakes games anyway, so we didn't think it would cause any harm. I mean, I'm again, I'd like to address. Can you hear me again?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
I'd like to address one issue to do with high stakes. Obviously, I play high stakes, but that doesn't mean I'm an important customer for Party Poker. How much? If I play 200, 400 on Party Poker and pay $5 rake, and I win $1 million off a player, that's $1 million worth of deposit. High stakes for me, from a business point of view, is the only benefit for high stakes is one, it's aspirational for smaller players to think one day that could be me, and second of all, it's good for marketing and interesting to watch. But the high stakes players are many friends of mine. I will tell them, you're with the greatest will in the world. You're not important to an online poker site. And that's the truth. We could shut down all high stakes on Party Poker and we'd actually make more profit because most of the people that are actually big losers on high stakes would have are playing too high, B would have been playing on the casino products or playing on the spins. So high stakes is a loser for the side, and if high stakes players really want to moan and stamp their feet, I'd happily say not interested in high stakes business, even though I'm a high stakes player myself. I mean, I'll give you a typical example. What happened 2 weeks ago with the Lars Luzak thing about? I saw the article about he won 1.3 million. Yeah. Well, a guy didn't lose 1.3 million to him. A guy won 1.3 million on the casino on PartyPoker and lost 1.3 million to Lars Luzak. So that probably cost PartyPoker 1.3 million. So listen, I just like to tell the truth. High stakes players, good for marketing, it's aspirational. But if you stomp your feet and start moaning high stakes community, happily just go, good luck. You know, you're not core business. Core business for an online poker site is grassroots players. And to be honest with you, we wouldn't need a cash game above 510 on the site, and we wouldn't need a buy-in tournaments above 530 on the site. So
makes sense.
High stakes players are a very small niche, and because they can sit down with a lot of money, they think they should make the rules. Well, I play the high stakes games in the world. I don't think I should make the rules. So we're offering a service to high stakes players, and I actually think that high stakes players should stop moaning, stop crying, and support poker a bit more. It looks very bad when you see a table with 5 of them sat out waiting for one guy. Well, the guy comes and plays, they all sit in, he leaves, they sit out. I'd actually get to the point of saying 95% of the high stakes players are just bum hunters. So happily just walk away from that side of the business person.
So do you have plans to remove the high stakes games from PartyPoker, or do you plan to continue to offer them with the real name system?
From a marketing point of view, and for the profile of the site, I'm willing to support high stakes. I'm going to support them myself. We're going to have our own high stakes stream games. But we're doing that for the small players to watch. We're not doing that for the benefit of the high stakes players. Do you understand?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Let's say we do a 200, 400 no limit game and we stream it with commentary. We're doing that for the rest of the site. We're not doing that to give the high stakes players a game to play.
Okay.
Significant difference. Now I can get a lineup of high stakes players, good guys, friends of mine, who can play that game and give the rest of the people something good to watch. 100 elite players who are learning about real names and moaning.
The audio keeps breaking in and out. It's definitely some lag, and it's tilting me hard. So I'm calming down my tilt here. I'm doing my breathing exercise. Audio tilt, lag tilt on that end. Let me breathe in.
Can you not hear me?
I can hear you, but it sometimes will cut. It sometimes sounds like that, where it's crackling. So I'm just tilted for the actual audio itself, and then but I can understand what you're saying, though. Yeah, I can understand what you're saying. I think it makes sense. I think it will make sense to people out there if they're listening. While they might not agree, and while it's not ideal for the professional poker player out there who is one of these players, and makes sense. We talked about them being bum hunters, but that's how games became, unfortunately, right? With the rake and with the edges being so small, people feel like out there they don't want to take any chance to play against anyone who. Most people don't, right? Some people do, sure, but a majority of people don't, and they might still want to play, but then everyone else sits out, so then everyone else just sits out too. And this is something that's been going on for many, many years, and it was never addressed, and it seems like it's never going to be addressed, and this is always going to be an issue. So I can understand what you're saying. High stakes is for the promotion. It's to have on the site. It's for the aspirational. Sometimes those games run, but if they went away, they went away, and you wouldn't have a problem with that.
I wouldn't lose 1 second sleep over not being in that business.
Okay. Makes sense. Let me see if we got anything else. So the real names, regular names, things, that's going to stay.
Just one point, Joey. Don't you think it's better that I just tell the truth rather than say, oh, you high stakes players, you're really important. I'm going to try and do this. I really like you. Don't you think it's better just to tell the truth that you're not good business?
Yeah, I definitely see from your standpoint. It's just unfortunate that that's what poker become. The way I see it is that's pretty sad in that You know, it's like I guess, but I guess that's what happened, man. Things evolve, industries evolve. I wish it was like it used to be in terms of there'd be a lot of games to play and people would be playing, people would be battling, but with all the software out there, with the potential for out-of-line activity, and with people, I mean, it just makes sense why things have gotten to this point. It's just unfortunate that that's the reality of what's taking place right now.
And you have to accept the sign of the times. You know, you have to accept that life changes and poker moves on.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hang on to the fact that you think that high stakes, for example, if you think that high stakes no limit poker is the future, and you hang on to that, then you should be concentrating on what is the future and doing what's right for poker, not what's right for a certain section of players.
Yeah, I think most high stakes players who've been around poker for a long time, they think they're very intelligent people, and they think that they know what's best for business, marketing, poker sites, game protection, future of poker. So a lot of these people are confident in their skills. They have a lot of belief in what they've done and what they can do. So they feel like their opinion should be listened to more than others because of these things. And that's what we end up with. Everyone has an opinion about what everything should be, and people lack the knowledge and understanding to completely understand the full spectrum of things. And what happens is you end up having a small number of people who end up taking the lead in these situations. And of course, other smart, intelligent people are going to give their feedback and what they think could be done better. And that's how it is, I think, in most industries. So it's understandable for you to have this side, and it's also understandable for the professionals to feel that the way that they do and to voice their concerns. And then hopefully we all come together and things can be done that benefit both sides. And I understand that's not always the reality of the situation.
I think you missed one point there. The high stakes guys, online guys, they're trying to make money, Joey.
Right. That's true. They're looking out for their self-interest just like everyone else is.
Yeah. So the feedback you get from them is, most of them, is make changes that are going to make them more money.
Right.
I mean, no one dare say these things, but like, everyone's like just hides behind. But the truth of the matter is poker players in general are quite selfish, and certainly from my point of view, you know, I love poker not because of people playing high stakes, and I like poker as a social thing, and it's a good community, and it brings people together, and it's exciting. And I don't love poker because a certain small amount of people can make a lot of money at it.
Yeah, I think this whole HUD thing, and people are obviously upset that HUDs are taken out, but I think that majority of that is because a lot of poker players out there have learned to become winning poker players and learn poker through using a heads-up display and through reviewing those hands in their database. So a lot of people have become incredibly reliant on this, and in reality, if they never existed, poker would be different. And when we go play live poker, we're not using a heads-up display. When we play live poker, and live poker seems to go quite well. So I think a big reason why people are upset, and rightfully so as well too, they're all entitled to their opinion as well, is that they've just become accustomed to doing this. They feel like it should still exist, and it's not good for their bottom line in their mind. I might argue for some players, it might be better for them in the long term. And also, I think, once again, we touched on this earlier. We don't need to go over it, but people are just concerned that the people who then break the rules have a bigger advantage over you if they're using it and you're not. So, and as we mentioned, the HUDs only have a small amount of, so it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a winning poker player. And we can go back and forth on this for a while, and I'm sure people are going to have issue with everything that you say or I say in this situation, and they can fucking debate everything to the death of us. So that's not really what I'm looking to do. So I feel like we've touched on these things. I feel like we've touched on the real. If you guys have in the chat have any more questions, Rob disappeared. But if you have any more questions about the real name versus the first not, then let me know. I feel like I covered a lot of the things that people had for questions. And there's actually one more thing I'm going to cover when Rob comes back. But he disappeared, so now we're going to do some more shout-outs. Who else we got out here, man? Jake Cobb. I got to fix this full screen. Let's see. I got to feel like we got to make this work here, man. We got to fix this. It's a new setup here, guys. They eliminated the Google Hangouts. So, unfortunately, I can't use Google Hangouts anymore here. So now I'm trying this new program out called Zoom. And yeah, Zoom has its own little, bam. Here we go. Let's see if this works. All right, bam. So this will be the one I use when Rob disappears. Full screen. Perfect. Let's see if Rob comes back here, and then we'll check it out here. Yeah, Yorkshire Pudding, that was the question. Would it be possible to extend to players the choice to play at real name table or standard table for all game types and stakes? I will definitely ask that question too. My man Landon Tice, what's up, Landon? Nice to see you out there. Mark Kinnear, casino owner, says poker players are selfish. The guy literally makes a living off vulnerable people. Like I said, there's never going to be an answer that pleases everyone, Mark, right? Rob's going to say things from his perspective. You're going to have an issue. Poker players are going to say things from their perspective. Rob's going to have an issue. There's always going to be somebody who's got an issue on all these different things like that. There's never going to be a perfect solution that everyone agrees upon. And that's what's going to happen is we just keep going back and forth on these issues. We keep going back and forth on the things. You guys make your cases. Normally the cases that the players make are very, very poor in nature. And the cases that are made in a smart way don't ever get in front of who you're trying to make the case to, because there's so much riffraff out there. So you got to understand that if you're a player out there, or if you're someone trying to make a case for something that you believe in and you believe you have a good argument, you not only have to make a good argument, but then you have to actually get it in front of the person who can potentially make changes or has an influence to make changes. So you're fighting an extremely uphill battle. So you might think you have the smartest fucking input out there on a situation, the smartest opinion on things, but you got to understand that there's more to it in terms of if you want what you're saying to be understood by the person that you're trying to make understand it. So you got to keep that in mind. You posting on 2+2 on page 23 of a thread that's been going on for 3 years is not going to be a very good way to get your fucking point across. And now you say, well, what is the way to get my point across to somebody who could potentially make a change when I think I have a smart idea? And that's where you got to brainstorm and think outside the box and figure out different ways to get your input in front of that person, whether it's by finding them in real life, whether it's by email, finding people that they know, providing value to them in some capacity over time. But a lot of people out there feel completely entitled that everyone should listen to what they say because they fucking won some money at poker and they feel like they made 2 or 3 smart posts on the 2+2 poker forums. That's not how things work, okay? So you guys out there have to become educated on that and realize the way you're going upon it and the strategy you're going upon it isn't working out very well for you. So think outside the box a little bit in terms of you trying to provide some sort of help or assistance to whatever it is that's going down. So that's what I got out there. Rob's back. Welcome back, Rob. I had to go on a little. I had to go on a little rant. I know people aren't mad at me, but people are mad in general that they feel like their opinions aren't being heard and this type of stuff like that. You guys got to understand, man. Like it's how you're going upon it, man. First of all, everyone's super entitled. They think that everyone should listen to everything they got to say. That's not how things work, and you have to figure out a different strategy.
Joey, I opened up a Twitter account 6 weeks ago. I do lots of polls on there for every decisions that we make. People need to also realize that when we polled about HUDs, we polled about real names. We did polls on all these things, and I don't think we've made any decisions that were unpopular to the masses, you know. Mm-hmm. So there's a small nucleus of people who've got very good and educated opinions, but we can't just make those guys make decisions for the whole of the poker community.
Right. I think I want to address one other thing people have talked about a lot. I don't know if we've touched on this in a previous podcast. It doesn't come to mind. So Sec7G on 2+2 says, ask him about guarantees being met at his casino with staked players whom are backed by sources close to Rob. And this is something I've heard before. Now, so how this works, I guess, is you set guarantees for your casinos, you set guarantees for your poker tournaments. When the guarantee isn't being close to met, then people talk about how you or other people associated with you will back players to fill those guarantees. So what are your thoughts on this complaint? I've heard this complaint multiple times from people out there where they have a concern that this isn't right, that the guarantee shouldn't be met, and so on and so forth.
To be honest with you, we've missed in my casino, in many live events that I've done. I mean, if you just look, we overlaid $1 million in Rio, we overlaid $1 million in the Caribbean. I think we've overlaid God knows how many millions at my own casino. I think if we were a bit more cuter, we could obviously have eliminated some of those guarantees. But in terms of staking players into myself personally into Dusk Till Dawn tournaments, I don't do that myself. I do stake players into other events sometimes as a favour. However, at my casino in Dusk Till Dawn, yeah, I mean Sam, Trickett, Patrick, Little Dave, a few of the guys, they've staked players in. If they think we're a little bit short, I mean, I'll be totally honest. I'll give you an example of when this would happen. We were playing cash games we had the millions a couple of years ago, just to Dawn. I think it was like maybe 500,000 short or something. And literally, there was 3 high stakes cash games in there, and everyone had chips on them. And literally, people just taking 5k chips and staking their friends in to help us to help the place out. I think Sam staked 10 of his guys in who'd bust out so they could re-enter. So at the end of the day, if I don't think anyone's really interested in worried about missing on guarantee in various different live events that we do. It's not something that's that important. But yeah, definitely my friends and have definitely staked players in. 100%.
So basically what you're saying is the friends not only want to support you as you, they want to support the casino out, and also they see a potential opportunity to maybe make some money. I mean, I don't know the quality of players these guys are staking or anything like that, but
I don't think my friends are ever stake. I mean, some of the players they stake into, some of the players that Sam Trickett has staked into some of the Dusk Till Dawn tournaments have got no chance of winning. That are used to playing like 50, 100 pound tournaments. Definitely not doing it to try and get plus EV, but certainly over the last X amount of years, yeah. I mean, people have staked players in. I can't remember whether I've actually ever staked anyone in myself in my own casino. I think I might have a couple of times when not even when we've had an overlay or anything, but when someone's really managed to catch me in the smoking area, and I've gone, what the hell? Okay, here's 1k, you can play, etc. But it's like, and there used to be a company called BRS, and they specifically used to overlay hunt. So they used to look for overlays and put players in. So they were looking for value, but certainly friends of mine who have put a few players in to support the place. I don't think they've been doing it to try and make any money, to be honest with you.
okay. I feel like if anyone has another question pertaining to these things, I'm going to move on to a few topics that I have. They're a little bit more lighter in nature here. Let's see here. What is this?
I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, where are you reading these questions from?
These are on 2+2. So I have my own podcast thread there on 2+2. These were some things that were voiced by people that have been longtime supporters of my own podcast and of myself. So high stakes members of the community. So I wanted to get these questions out there. These are also common things I've seen talked about in the Party Poker thread on 2+2. And occasionally on Twitter as well.
We don't actually have a Party Poker thread on 2+2.
It's not an official Party Poker thread. It's more of a.
I've never looked at it. I mean, I remember.
There's a lot of complaining in there.
I'll be honest with you. I give you my. Can I give you my stance on 2+2?
Go ahead and give it to me.
I wouldn't like. I've never looked at 2+2 in my whole life. From what I've seen on 2+2, it's anonymous people, so you don't know who they are. People opening new accounts, and people have sent me clips. So I've never been on there myself. People have sent me clips. Guys made like 2 posts and saying this and saying that. I mean, we actually don't sponsor 2+2 either, Party Poker. So it's not like a medium that I feel that it's necessarily the friendliest place in the world.
Not at all. It used to be a friendly place, but
quite a stick.
Yeah, it's not. It's not necessarily. A lot of it is the same names right now. It's very sad what it's become, because it used to be a very great place, and my thread still is okay at least. But if you go look at Daniel's thread, it's just. I mean, these guys have so much energy to constantly go in there all the time and just fucking talk shit about people. Daniel, Doug gets it too.
Joey, I mean,
every thread, any losing player, all these threads are so fucking annoying to go through because it's constant negativity.
How would you feel that I know people are paid to go and put comments on 2+2 about negative about Party Poker? How would you feel? I told you
that sounds terrible. I mean, that sucks. Yeah, it sucks. That's the reality of what the biggest online poker. I still support 2+2. Those are my guys over there, and I got my start in the poker me on 2+2. But it's just I don't spend much time on there now because it's the same fucking people who I don't even know if they even play poker, who just are constantly just this and that. It's like I have no interest to read anything most of these people say.
I mean, I'll show you here. We're actually about to launch this. I mean, we want to deal directly with players, so I'll show you this. We're actually about to launch on the PP Live app where we have 100,000 members. So we've set up customers who have raked money on Party Poker will be able to talk directly to the management on here, and the high stakes version is on here.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of deal direct with players. We don't want to kind of have like anonymous people setting up new accounts, people getting paid to say stuff. We kind of just want to move away from that.
Ryan McCormick said 2+2 has always been pretty solid at vetting who is posting and distinguishing credibility. So I want to comment what Rob's referring to, I believe, is there's been times in the past where certain party poker issues have been discussed. And I remember one specific thread where a lot of new accounts were then created. So I'm imagining this is what Rob's talking about. And this isn't a common case because most accounts on there are quite old in nature. But this does happen where certain threads, there'll be newer accounts who come in there, and there have been rumors, and this has been talked about.
Who do you think those people are that set these new accounts?
Probably people who have some sort of negative thing, interaction with the Dusk Till Dawn Casino, with you yourself, potentially work for other companies, potentially, I mean, listen, a lot of different reasons, right? It could be personal, it could be business, it could be they're just fucking trolls and that's what they want to say. You never know.
I mean, I don't hide. I mean, I have my Twitter account for 6 weeks. Like, I reply to people, I ask people's opinions. I'll be honest with you. I think I've never had any like. I mean, people on my Twitter account, they never like troll me. They never like say bad things. They're just constructive and really good, and works well. Obviously, I know a lot of people are because they've got their picture on there and things like that. It would be nice if Twitter wasn't anonymous. But people say to me that Twitter's quite toxic as well. But I've actually found it really helpful.
You don't use your timeline much, do you?
What's the timeline?
The timeline is the main homepage when you scroll down there infinitely and you read all the things that people like and retweet and share on their own.
Yeah, I like it. I mean,
maybe I must have a toxic timeline because I can't read it because I haven't found. I mean, I've got 21,000 followers. I haven't found like hardly any people being toxic on Twitter. People being destructive about blinds, advising, supportive, and also like some of the software changes that we're making, we've actually brought them to the front because of what players have said. So I'm kind of positive about using like these types of channels to speak to players. But again, you know, some of the stuff that when people are setting up new accounts or someone's got a beef with you and things like that, I'm not so much in favor of that. So how do you yeah, this is another comment. They say he blocks people who disagree with him. Rob, I'm going to tell you right now, I block people on Twitter all the time. I don't want to hear from you motherfuckers. I'm going to be honest with you guys right now. Some of these guys I just have no interest in engaging with. So me personally, I don't mind blocking people. I really enjoy it. Rob, do you block people that disagree with you on Twitter?
My PA has a policy. My PA manages my Twitter account.
Okay.
All the comments, all the replies are made by me personally. And I gave her a directive. So she looks at who follows me each day. And if someone's got less than 10 Twitter followers, she investigates their account to see whether they're a genuine poker player rather than being a bot, a Twitter bot. And if she can see it's an obvious Twitter bot or troll, she will block them.
Nice.
So all my Twitter followers are genuine people. And second of all, if someone comes on and says something abusive or swears or derogatory, she blocks those people. So there's a big difference.
I think that people that say this they've never dealt with what you're referring to. So they in their mind, like no one's commenting them, telling them to go fuck themselves or this or that. So in their mind, it makes sense to them, but they don't really understand that when you consistently see things like that, or if you're just like, I don't need to deal with this, I'm not going to.
So she keeps it clean. So if someone comes on, let's say if we say, what do you think about my game? And someone comes on and says, you think this should be this, your stats should be this, it needs to be a better icon here. It's really shit. That's fine. But if someone comes on and says, you're a fucking twat, she just blocks them. So if someone's abusive, she blocks them.
Okay.
So I actually have a really healthy Twitter community. I never thought I'd be on social media, and it's super helpful. And I would say like 99.99999% of comments on there are constructive.
Okay.
I would say that a lot of them disagree and say you should be doing this. I mean, for example, when we had the software crash a few months ago, everyone came on and we just crashed the damn software. It's a disaster. People didn't come on. Like one in 1,000 people, small percentage came on and said, you're a fucking idiot. 999 people said, you need to fix this. You need to do this. And I actually said, okay, guys, we're in crisis. Here's an email address. Anyone doesn't not happy that can't get with the resolve, email me and I'll deal with every single one personally. I've dealt with every single one personally myself. And people respect that. But the guy that comes on and says, Rob Young, you're a fucking idiot, I mean, really, he's not going to be coming up with the most constructive comments to improve the site.
That's true. He might down the road, but like one last thing on 2+2, I do want to say there are a lot of really great posters on there as well who've been longtime members who do provide value. It's just that wading through the threads of the people I'd like to read from and then reading other people who just, I feel like, never provide anything of value at all, not to mention with the trolls who have no knowledge what they're talking about, giving these passionate opinions. I want to say, because at 2+2, I got a love for 2+2. I've been an incredible supporter of them. They've been an incredible supporter of me.
I think you let these things get you down too much. You take them too personally, you know. I mean,
it's sad to see what's become, you know. I mean, things evolve. I understand. It's like this used to be a great place I loved going to, and now it's the people that I want to talk with don't even go there anymore because they all feel the same way.
Just put other genuine people off. But one thing, Joey, if you look at the comments that you get on your threads, you might get one guy being like, the 99 people that are like being constructive because one guy's horrible and say, I'm gonna leave this forum, I'm gonna not comment on Twitter, it's all toxic. You have to just go through, right, okay, if you've got 100 comments and 99 and 51 are horrible and toxic, then it's a bad platform. But if 10 are, you shouldn't punish the 90 people who are trying to be constructive.
That makes sense.
Just block. If someone's not going to be constructive, they're not going to be helping you.
Well, how do you handle, so when you have all these things you're personally doing, so you have a poker, you have the casino, you have any other business you're involved in, you want to play poker, you have social media, how do you manage all this stuff in your mind? Are you just that organized in your mind where that's something that you're great at, or are you good at outsourcing these things? How do you take on so much?
I don't outsource anything. I do everything myself. Every reply is done by me on my Twitter account. Every structure that we look at PartyPoker, we work together in meticulous detail. I'm working 24/7 at the moment with Rick on the new schedule. Me and Tom are working so hard on the software. Ross, Chris, the PartyPoker Live guys. I don't outsource anything. I want to, you know, if I put my name to something, I want to be the person that's helping and supporting, whether it's cleaning the toilets or whatever it's doing. And but what I'm not going to do is like stress out about like the one guy that says PartyPoker software is effing shit and you stake 10 players into a tournament, you're a wanker. Because to be honest with you, there's like 9,000 people to this one guy that support me. So why would it even bother me? I mean, I would say, since I've been involved in the poker industry since 2005 when we first opened Dusk Till Dawn, if I had to say how much the poker community have got behind me and the things I've done, I would say they've given me more support than I ever deserve. So how can I moan?
Right.
I mean, I remember situations where we said, let's break the record, 10,000 people in a Grand Prix tournament. Stupid idea to do. People traveled from the Isle of Man, they traveled from France, because they wanted to play $100 tournament, £100 tournament at my casino? No. Because they wanted to make the event a success and felt part of it. And I would say like, literally had like massive support and like never going to get down about 10 people that are unhappy.
Right.
And I think, to be honest with you, the reason that I get this big support is because most people know and can see that I care, and most people are going to identify with that. And I think there's a lot of people that care about poker that we don't recognize. We get down on the 10% that are trying to put the knife in. Listen, in any industry, if you go and set up this water company, Aquapina, if you go and set up Aquapina, there's going to be, and they've got the freshest water. You donate 3% of your revenue to help people open wells in the world. If you do the most amazing job on Aquapina, you're still going to get one dickhead saying, I don't like the label. So don't worry about that one dickhead. Worry about the general consensus. And I think absolutely overwhelmingly, the genuine consensus about the projects that I'm involved in is that people want them to do well. Right. I would absolutely guarantee now that if we polled the poker community, who would want Party Poker to be number one in the world?
Most people would say yes.
Yes. So they're with us, aren't they?
That's true.
It's just we're not delivering, or we can't deliver what they want at the moment. If you, I never asked for any. I've never attended an award ceremony in my life. I don't know. I've won like European bullshit, whatever awards. I never asked for anything like that. So I've had absolutely everyone's support. So I think that's something, Leaf, you can take out of the book when you're doing like all these great videos. This crazy fucking video that you've done about the hand that I played. That's cheering people up. I mean, it's had 10,000 people now. I mean, this stuff's good for poker. You shouldn't stop doing these things because of 6 trolls.
Right.
Because those guys remember, those guys would also be trolling Aquapana. They'd be trolling. They're going to be negative about everything, these people. Because unfortunately in life, there is just a very small percentage of people who are trolls, who aren't very nice people.
Yeah, definitely. You're right about that. Definitely impacts me, especially.
Honestly, you need to just cut that out, because you're doing really good, cool things for poker, and like, don't worry about the couple of dickheads. Just block them or don't speak to them again, and they'll just go and annoy somebody else.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
don't punish the majority.
Yeah, I think that some people are just better at blocking these things out than others. And I think somebody like Doug is great at doing that. Someone like yourself's great at doing that. Someone like me, I think I used to be good at it, but not as good now. And it's something I'd rather just not even deal with. And that's really dissuades me from wanting to do anything public, really, like wanting to do more content, wanting to do things. It's just, even though there's positive, I would just rather not deal with all these other things.
It's a good thing that I did this Twitter account. I mean, you were one of the guys that said to me, you should do something. And I've done a Twitter account, and I got to say, these guys on Twitter, I mean, they're even going through and saying, on this tab in the corner on Party Poker, you should just make it this size. I mean, these guys care.
Right. Let's get on some other stuff here. I want to talk about the Phil Ivey baccarat case. So this thing's been going on for a long time. It happened back in 2012, and the first initial thing that came on the scene was him and his accomplice, Kelly, is her American name, Kelly Sun, something like that. They would travel around the world doing this baccarat hustle, this edge sorting, advantage plays, and they went around the world. They made a lot of money. They went to Crockford's, and they got a bit greedy. And over the course of 2 nights, they won about 12 million American dollars. Crockford's investigated. They didn't pay him out. Phil Ivey filed a lawsuit against Crockford. Very short, but I'm working on a video. It's going to cover all of this. And they took it to court multiple times. The High Court in England, United Kingdom, said that they ruled against Phil Ivey. Borgata got word of what happened with this lawsuit. I think it was 2014 or 13, I believe. 2013, I believe. And they filed a lawsuit against Phil Ivey to recover $10+ million that they paid out. Maybe it's $8 to $10 million. I can't have the specific number right now. And then obviously this has been a big story. People were saying, well, they gained an advantage legally over the casino. The casino should pay them. The casino gains legal advantages over the players all the time. So as someone in your position with the casino, what are your thoughts on what Phil Ivey did in terms of...
One thing about asking me, I mean, just remember, Dusk Till Dawn, the casino is a hobby for me. It's not my business.
Okay.
So my business is not a casino operator. I have a casino and a poker club near my house so my friends can come and play and we can put nice tournaments on. It's not my business.
Okay.
So first of all, I'm not a casino operator. So I'm probably not in amazing. I can't comment.
You're in a slightly better position than majority of people that come and talk about the specific case.
It's not like Leon owns King's Casino and it's his business.
Can you imagine? What do you think Leon would do? Someone did this at King's.
Sure.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't think might not be a lawsuit.
Leon's business is King's Casino. My business is not Dusk Till Dawn. My business is other businesses.
Right.
Dusk Till Dawn's my hobby. So I mean, and that's sometimes not. People think I'm a casino operator. It's not true. But in terms of the Phil Ivey, I was with Phil actually in London at Triton, and then we flew over to King's together. And he was like a really cool, really chilled, playing well. And like I never mentioned this to him. No one else mentioned it. We were playing for 2 hours together. If you want my honest opinion on what happened, and I know a little bit about what happened because obviously I'm I'm in that circle, in the high stakes circle. But my honest opinion is, the first thing is, did Phil Ivey do anything ethically wrong? Did he do anything legally wrong? For me, they're two separate arguments. So let's address the legal issue. The question with the legal issue is, I don't believe he did anything legally wrong. For example, I don't believe people going and counting cards with blackjack is illegal.
Mm-hmm.
But the casino has the right, if you come in, you count cards, to say we don't want you as a customer. Phil Ivey was edge sorting, I think it is, on baccarat. The casino has the right to say, I don't want your business. But everything he's won before that, casino should have to pay. So for me, it's black and white. The casino gave him the odds, they gave him the money, they gave him the credit.
They agreed to his request in terms of what he asked for. They said yes. They could have said no, and then he would have left.
He had an advantage. He had an advantage over the house, just like a card counter would have an advantage. You still got to pay out, you know. I mean, I can't play you at poker. Know you have an edge over me, let you and play you, and then say I'm not paying. So, from a legal point of view, should Phil Ivey be able to keep this money? I believe he should. From a moral point of view, let me think about this. I've never thought this before. The casino invites you in and has a house edge on you. To buy you a cup of coffee. Is it okay for the player to come in and know they have an edge over the casino? Yes. From a point of view, it's fine. From a legal point of view, it's fine. So I'm on Phil Ivey's side, and this is the first time I've ever thought about it.
Okay.
I'm actually don't really understand the argument against him. I mean, what has he actually done wrong here?
I'm not sure. I think if I listened to what the court said in the UK when they ruled finally on this in 2017, I believe they said that they weren't honest with the casino about why they were asking for these changes, and I guess they had to have. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't actually know what the argument is. They said they acknowledged that it wasn't cheating, but they also said that they weren't not being straightforward about what exactly they wanted these changes for and why, and they took advantage of the casino. I think it's something of that nature. I think it's more.
Hold on a minute. When the casino decides to take away surrender on blackjack, or when the casino decides to stop you allowing to split aces more than twice on double deck, the casino doesn't say to you when you come in, hold on, Mr. Ingram, we just changed the rules here. Makes a 0.2% difference in our favour. Doesn't explain them. They just changed the rules. So, in my opinion, the casino it's bad PR. I mean, casinos the losers should pay. You know.
Yeah, I will. I'll definitely dive.
I'm just struggling to understand what Phil's done wrong here.
I think he made the casinos look silly. He made some people in these places look silly, and they wanted to get retribution, I believe.
In which case, just make sure when Phil Ivey goes into your casino, you don't allow him to have a franchise. You don't give him these things. So I have heard and seen some things written about this, but I'm struggling legally and morally to understand what Phil Ivey's done wrong.
Well, I think the majority of people out there agree with you.
Well, your investigative journalism's gonna do something on it. I mean, I'd be interested to see whether you actually. What's Phil done wrong?
Well, I will tell you exactly, because I'll tell you once I do the video. This is something I haven't dove into the actual ruling that the judges have made in the Borgata case and in the England case as well. So there are specifics right now. I believe Borgata has ruled that they can take Phil Ivey's money from Nevada now too, because they looked at his New Jersey bank accounts and said it was empty. Now they go to his Nevada assets, and that's why Phil Ivey, when he played the World Series of Poker this year, the winnings that he had were seized by the Borgata, and then that's what Jungle Man and Ilya Trencher are suing for, is they're saying, no, we staked Phil, we should get some of that money. So I believe that is where we currently sit at the last ruling, I believe.
I think this is a lot of, I think casino industry is $1 billion industry. I think should have better things to do than be persecuting Phil Ivey, who's been an icon for poker for years and an inspiration for many people.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I saw him in London. He did look a little bit tired, didn't have a spring in his step, but he still looked great at the poker table. I think that it's a shame that the casinos haven't got better things to do, really. And I'm actually not a personal friend of Phil Ivey. We know him. I know him. I say hello. We'll chat. We Rosvedov with him. He's quite a quiet guy. He's not someone that is like got loads of friends around him. He's sociable. He's not in the bar drinking with people. I think leave him alone or not be seizing his assets and things like that. I mean, I actually think it's going to cost them money because how many high stakes players are going to be put off with what the casinos are doing to Phil Ivey?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure.
Are you not allowed to? You have to explain why you want to win in a casino. I mean, is anyone sitting down at the roulette table trying to lose? We're all trying to win, yeah. Now, I don't. If I think about cheating, if it was marking the cards, that would be cheating.
Yeah, makes sense.
So that for me is cheating. Marking the cards, or if you went in there with an electronic device that was, that's kind of cheating, isn't it? I mean, casinos messed up here, and I think it's bad for the industry what they're doing. And I haven't thought about it. First time you've asked me about it, but my opinion is that Phil's not done anything wrong here. And if maybe I'm wrong, maybe you can think of something that he's done that is wrong, but so I'm just moving out soon.
It's okay. We're moving locations over here. Okay. I want to give a shout out to Matthew Scoville in the chat. Thank you very much. Matt had this to say about Rob. Yong is a visionary leader, truly unique in his approach, practical and transparent. What a rare insight to hear someone like this pull back the curtain on how they think and run their business.
Well, I think that it's good to be honest. And again, I'm not being honest because I think honest is I'm going to go to heaven. I actually think honest makes you more profitable in the long run.
You keep talking, Rob. I have to use the facility real quick, and you comment on that one, okay?
No, I want to answer some of these questions I've got on Twitter.
Go ahead. I can hear you, okay?
You know, my Twitter guys, the one out of like one that I don't get upset about, 1 out of 1,000 that slags me off, but it's just so helpful and it's helping shape PartyPoker. I mean, it's great, all these votes that we're able to do. Some of them do surprise me, some of the results. I thought that people would want it to be bigger, but more rational. It's interesting how people want them to be at 10%. So, first of all, thanks for everyone that helps me out on Twitter. I do answer every single comment myself personally, so there's no one else doing it. Let's just have a look at these couple of questions. Ilmatic, Rob, will you add me to the PartyPoker team roster? Fortunately, I don't make those decisions. That's Tom Waters. I'm not trying to swerve it, but I know that Rachel messaged me and said you found us 4 players for CPP and been supporting us. So thanks a lot for that. Corey's always, I know Corey Kempson, he's always saying we should scrap the PartyPoker software and start from scratch. I agree that was what we should have done 2 or 3 years ago. We decided to build on the old framework, but we've got so much work now to scrap now and start again would be impossible. So we have to proceed with the current 2-year roadmap. So I agree, we fucked up. We should have started from scratch 3 years ago. But we're in the hole. We need to get out of the hole first. Esbon Solas, are you really going to remove high stakes at PartyPoker? No, we'll have high stakes. I'm waiting for antes. The truth of the matter is to actually start pushing the high stakes and get some games. I've been waiting for antes to come in, which is October the 3rd, because I think it's a better game. More people seeing flops, harder to use solve. So the reason I've not been pushing the high stakes is I'm waiting for the antes to come in. So we'll never remove high stakes from PartyPoker, but we will never make high stakes a priority over the majority of players. Isaac Hensel, you've had some Twitter polls like US market. Yes, you're right, Isaac. I am fishing. That's why I did Twitter poll about US. I'm over in New York now, just looking what's going on, trying to gauge what's happening.
Technically, Rob, we did answer most of these questions throughout the podcast.
Did you go through them?
I hit most of those ones. A lot of those were inspirations for questions, but they're worded differently and not necessarily
Talk about the
acknowledged to the
Triton Ace
singular
bosses.
person that asks them.
Talk about the Triton bosses.
That was going to be one of the next topics, was getting into Triton Poker.
Okay. I'm trying to get into the poker game tonight. I'm just messaging you back saying on a podcast. Piss off. Okay, fire away then, Joey.
All right,
if you're addressing those questions on the Twitter, and I can always answer. To be honest with you, I can go back and answer those guys individually anyway, so it's cool.
Yeah, what I try to do for the GTO question is I aggregate all the questions I can find that people have, and then I put down my own list. I research the person, and then I come up with a master list.
I'm not criticizing, but you just went and left and gave me something to talk about, so I thought I would do.
Oh, you hadn't? No, yeah. Listen, man, I've been drinking water, trying to stay hydrated here in beautiful GTO headquarters in Las Vegas, Nevada. And yeah.
What's the next question then?
Next topic's going to be Triton Poker here, Rob. Triton Poker just had the €1 million tournament. I believe it was over $1 million, and they've been doing a lot of really great things, putting up a lot of really great high quality content, high stakes cash games. They've been getting a lot of players that we know and love involved in these games, like Tom Durduan, Phil Ivey, Patrick Antonius. What are your thoughts on Triton Poker and what they're doing for poker?
Well, first of all, it was £1 million buy-in. So the reason they made it £1 million was so it could be the highest buy-in ever.
Okay.
It was €1 million from Monte Carlo. It was an amazingly successful event, brilliantly produced. PartyPoker Live did some of the work, but Triton made all the decisions. And I think what that particular event made Paul Kwan and Richard really proud. And I think it's going to be good for poker that they were so happy with how the event went, and they're going to be doing more stuff. Now, Paul and Richard and their sons actually run the business, the Triton. They are so passionate. Money is no objective for them for doing what's right for poker. They love poker. You'll see at the World Series of Poker Europe when Richard and Paul are there, these guys will be playing every tournament. €1,000, €1 million. They just love poker. They're very passionate. The way that I see Triton going, and I am going to support them 100%. I'm going to stay out of the high stakes market, live market myself, and support Triton. So PartyPoker Live won't be putting on competitor 25k, 50k, 100k events. We'll support Triton instead. And between us, myself, Paul, all the guys that help out, like Andrew Roble, we're going to really try and improve high stakes.
Okay.
Live action around. So, I mean, the Triton guys, have you ever met them?
I have not. Richard? I have not met them. No, not yet.
Absolute gentlemen. I'm so pleased that Bahamar Casino have decided to allow them to come and play at the Caribbean Poker Party this week. Obviously, the public knowledge that Paul and Richard had a few issues with which they were acquitted for in the US. Bahamar Casino compliance were looked at that and have decided that they're going to let Paul and Richard come and play in the Bahamas this year. Instantly donated £100,000 from the Triton event to Bahamas Fund. And between myself, Paul, Triton, all our high stakes guys, we're going to try and raise like 1-2 million to help build some event as well. So there's a lot happening with the high stakes guys. And the question you asked was initially about Triton, but I would just say it's not just about Triton. It's about the high stakes community. It's about your Bill Perkins, passionate guys like that. It's about all the high stakes players like your Jason Coons, your Mikitas, Sam Trickett's. I mean, I could mention them all. Eagle Burger for advising. Andrew Roble's been brilliant. It's about that high stakes community of what I would call the good guys coming together. Production of high stakes poker on PokerGo. We've started to work with him more. I mean, he's a difficult businessman to deal with. He will negotiate for $2. But that collection of guys, I believe, high stakes poker is actually in very good hands going forward for live events.
Okay. We caught most of that. It's still a little bit laggy on that end over there with I think David said it might be a mic also. I guess in the future, probably if people are on Wi-Fi, should have them use like the Apple earbuds or something like that if they don't have if they're using the on-computer mic.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's been really, really good for most of it, but occasionally it just kind of lags in and out a little bit. So
I think my point there, answer your question, is Triton plus their partners. I think high stakes poker really healthy going forward, and I also really like the PSP tournament being in Barcelona that PokerStars are doing.
PSPC,
I'm
yep.
definitely want to try and play that myself and bring some players and support that tournament. Um, Barcelona is a fantastic casino. Friends of mine run it. I know it's not my event, but I want to support it. It's a good thing. So I think, like, for a high stakes live poker player, it's the world's great and it's in good hands. Which I wish I could say the same for online, but live's good.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Baja Mar event. That's going to be in November at the end of the month, I believe.
Yeah, I think it'll probably be the highest attended ever area super high roller bowl. I asked them not to cap it, just the 300,000 buy-in. I know they normally cap it to like 30 odd players and do the lottery thing. I said, come on, it's the Caribbean, let's have some fun, let's not cap it. Paul and Richard will be there. Mike Tyson and all the crew and all those guys will be supporting. Be a great production by Poker Go. And obviously, we have our 10 million 10K side event, isn't it, nowadays, to these big buy-ins. Our millions event there in the Caribbean, needing 1,000 players at 10K. Despite what's happened in the Bahamas, I believe all the live poker's booming, isn't it?
Rob, we might need to change that location back to the other room, buddy.
What's happened?
We might need to go back to the other room. It's getting worse. The alien, or you just leave and come back again. Do that. You can do that thing again too. This Wi-Fi guys, technical difficulties. We do these live. You know how it is sometimes here in the live podcast. Sometimes they go there, and then they go there.
Can you not hear me, Joey?
I can hear you. It's very laggy and in and out and stuff like that. So it's
Yeah, let me try it again.
Back to full screen. But bam, there we are again. I need to research and maybe use Skype for some of these conversations. That's the good thing about the Google Hangouts is that it would directly go from each end. So if Rob's end, the audio would go in there. At my end, the audio would go in there. So it would end up being a little bit different. So it wouldn't be as much. Now it has to come through my connection first and then go through OBS. So it has to be good coming to me first too. Yeah, we're back.
Yes, I was just making the comment that I think live poker, high stakes poker, live poker in general is in really, really good hands and healthy. And the Triton guys, for me, we should all support them. I mean, I know what people know, but they give all their rate to charity. They don't make it a non-profit organisation. The quality of their streams is brilliant. I think they're working with Kerry Katz now on improving this on improving the product even more. So, yeah, I mean, Triton, they're going to do the London event again next year. I believe they've already booked the venue. It won't be £1 million buy-in. I don't think that should be repeated annually. And the same crew will be all working on it to make it a success.
Well, I look forward to seeing what they come up with next. I'm sure people out there are as well. Their content on YouTube and the live streams they do are very, very good. So I agree. Bamfu says a mic plugin should be standard. I agree, Bamfu. For now on, we're going to make sure that the guests have the mics. Just that way there's less reverb and echo. And then also, you're right. Good idea, Bamfu. Especially with this setup right now. That should be
Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's all good. It's all good, Rob. I think we only have a few more things on here anyway to discuss.
I'll tell you, if you wanted to get Paul Power and Richard up to do a podcast here, I think I could probably ask them for you.
Oh, sure. Okay. I guess I'd absolutely love to have them on. I know a little bit about Paul. Yeah, I don't know much about Richard, but I would love to have both of them on. They're doing great things, and I'd love to
ask them for you because I want people to see how gentile and generous and passionate and how much these guys care about the game. They're very low profile. They don't like to take any plaudits, any glory, any credit for what they're doing. But I will speak to them and see if they'll do something, because I think these guys can, when people see how passionate, how much these guys actually love the game, it kind of gives people a bit of faith, because I think everyone's on a little bit of a downer about poker generally at the moment.
Right.
And I think seeing that you've got people like Paul and Richard and people that actually really care is going to give people a bit more inspiration. Everyone's like corporate.
I agree. I want to ask a few I want to ask a few questions about some stories you might have because people love the stories on here. So, do you have any Aussie Matt stories that you'd be able to share with us?
Let me give you an Aussie Matt story. Okay, I'll give you one that comes to mind. So, I don't think you'd mind me sharing it. So we played this cash game in the area, and Aussie Matt's playing a little bit crazy, and he's actually a very good PLO player. He's a lot better than me. Tony G's in the game. A few other guys are in the game. Aussie Matt ends up it's like his 13th losing session on the trot, which is kind of sending him on tilt. He's moaning and groaning, and then he goes outside to try and spin his loss up on roulette. He misses every number like 20 times on the trot. So he sends me a message at like 2:00 in the morning. Rob, do not ever contact me for another poker game. I replied to him, Matt, you invited me to the game. It wasn't my game. And he said, all I'm saying is don't ever invite me for another poker game. Full stop. So he's blamed. He's like, I feel like, God, it wasn't my idea to play. So I get up in the morning. It's like 9:00 in the morning, nice and fresh. Get a message. Rob, what time's the game tonight? I mean, this guy, what do you do? I said, I thought you weren't playing anymore. He said, that was last night. And another Aussie Matt story, I messaged him because I'm having this Rob's home game on Poker Go in December with all my friends to play a bit of cash game there. And I messaged Aussie Matt, he was at Burning Man. I said, hey Matt, are you still retired? And he messaged me back saying, have you not heard of athletes coming out of retirement?
So you're saying we might see Aussie Matt in the Rob Young home game on Poker Go in December?
I think so, yeah. I think when he says coming out of retirement, athletes come out of retirement, he obviously considers himself an athlete.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, he's a character. And to be honest with you, Aussie Matt I know so many people that he's kind of helped out. And like when kind of like he can have a bit of a rough time, lost a bit of money on the Montreal game, and people having a bit of a dig at him about him saying he spent 500,000 on a football game and that sort of stuff. He's not bragging about that. That's what he does. So when he's saying I've got 500,000 on this game, people can think, he's got no pretenses. He doesn't want to impress anyone. He doesn't care what anyone thinks. Mm-hmm. That's his life. He's a true gambler.
Okay, he's a true rebel. You said
true gambler.
True gambler. Okay, if you had headphones on there, you got something special there for yourself. Yeah, I think a lot of people out there love Aussie Matt. Obviously, that Montreal PLO session where he lost around $4 million when it was you, Luis Leon, Sam Trickett, and Aussie Matt. It was like a four-handed battle, of the wits.
I didn't like that game. I asked him to switch off the stream for that game. I thought it was too personal and too private. But there was 24,000 people watching, so Nick said you can't switch it off. I said this is not good. Us playing these kind of stakes in front of people and motions, and everyone's borrowing money off each other, but it wasn't really meant to be. And I remember when I watched that stream because I actually lost $200,000 went missing in that game. So we actually tried to watch it over to see where my 200,000 went missing.
I hate when that happens, when I'm in a game and 200,000 just goes missing.
I was giving people chips and things, and we couldn't find it because there was breaks in the game and stuff. So I ended up losing 200,000 on that game. But I actually ended up me watching the whole stream, which I normally never do. And it was quite a poignant situation where you have Aussie Matt and Leon after all they've been through, playing heads up with each other until one of them busts effectively. That game was never going to finish, was it? One of them was going to bust that game. They were both sitting playing heads up, and Leon knew that Aussie was not in a good way, and he turned around to Aussie and said, Matt, let's stop playing. And Matt said, no, Leon, we play on. And it was kind of how the game started with everyone not seeing each other for a couple of months, being happy to see each other, to just in the end, the kind of like how it ended with like Aussie just losing the whole lot against Leon heads up. It was kind of quite poignant, quite sad thing to watch. I would rather that not been public personally.
Yeah.
It happened. It was hard to switch the stream off with 25,000 people watching. I mean, I wanted to switch it off, and I was overruled.
Well, the viewers at home thank whoever overruled you, unfortunately. So they, it's called like it is. They loved it. Okay, it is what it is. I mean, the misery on Aussie Matt's face. I mean, it's not anyone that's lost money. You can relate to that feeling. Obviously, the dollar amounts are different, but the true agony of defeat was in full display that session in Matt's face. His body language, everything about him was just.
It was just a journey of like what happened, because I think he was winning the night before like 500k, and then it just went to. It was just like a story in a story of how someone could just go through that, and I didn't like what I didn't like that being on the stream, but it is on there for record now, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you have any Tom Durdwan stories, Rob? People out there, they still love Tom Durdwan. He might not love you guys, but they love him. What do you think about Tom?
I just said the last story that comes to mind. The last story that comes to mind. I was in about 3 weeks ago. Tom's mum came in to see him playing poker with us. And she sat down.
Oh my God! Stop it! The audio keeps freaking out. Oh my gosh! I feel for you headphone users out there. I'm sorry. I apologize. Continue on. Start over from that one, Rob.
So me and Tom were playing. Me, Tom, Phil Helmuth, and a couple of guys were playing it like a game in Ivey's room about 2-3 weeks ago, and Tom's mum came in to rail him. So I sat behind him, looking at his cards, playing during the game, and she was ever so nice. And there was just and then I just remembered. I said, Tom, what happened to that bet I had on myself with you for Triton? I think it was 50,000 bet, and he said, "Oh yeah." I said, "I owe you 50,000." And he went, "Oh yeah." I said, "Do you not write these things down?" And he said, "I only write them down if I think I'm not going to get paid." So I gave him the 50,000. He'd completely not even written it down, and not even mentioned it that I owed him it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's just a weird, surreal situation with his mum railing him, and he'd not even written down a 50,000 bet. It's like,
I'm not sure if I make a Jungle Man joke here or not. I'm not sure which way I take the response here, but. Makes sense. I can understand this. It makes sense. Listen, I can understand this.
He said to me, I said, "Why don't you write that down?" Because I don't write things down. I rely on I'm not very organized. And just like Tom said, I only write them down if I think I'm not going to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
It's the weird one. I was thinking in my head, well, how much money must people have not paid you then?
Yeah. All right, I'm done with the audio, guys. We're gonna wrap things up. Rob, do you have anything else you want to give to the people out there? 2 hours into the pod here.
No.
Oh my God.
Are you losing the audio?
No, it's doing something different now. It's like it's all of a sudden goes from regular to super loud. It's like freaking out. It's spazzing out over there pretty bad.
Well, I mean, a good idea to do these podcasts so people can really know what's going on, and we can be totally transparent, whether that's me, PartyPoker, or whatever. And I think I think the main point to take out of this podcast is what we discussed earlier when we talked about not always looking on the bad side, looking on the positive side of things, that if you try things that we can do, and also not worrying about the 5 or 6 people that want to put a knife in our back. Worry about the thousands of people that are in support of us as people who care about poker. I think that's the main point of this podcast. Looking at the glass is always half full.
Well, I think you've got your message across very well, and hopefully people out there enjoy it. Hopefully you learned something. Yorkshire pudding. The last question: will you ever have real name? Would it be possible to extend the player's choice at real name tables or standard tables for all game types and stakes?
No, I mean, I think that would take like 3-4 years to actually have a site where everyone played under their real names. I think it's a slow burner. I mean, as I said with the real names, the first real push to have real names on the site will be in our Party Poker Live satellites. We've not even started it yet, so.
He meant option. You can play on either table for all stakes. So you could play on real name or standard for every stake. You have the option to choose.
You do have the option. Oh, you're talking about. He's talking about the high stakes.
He's talking about all game types and stakes, all capital letters. So I'm assuming he means, yeah.
It's supposed to be a high stakes, just such a small market. If a load of high stakes people wanted to, if the high stakes players wanted to play anonymously against each other, I wouldn't have an issue with that. No. So.
Okay.
But I mean, just an example, the week before we did the real names, we rated like 3K on high stakes games that week. It's just such a small business, you know.
Right.
It's not,
All right, guys.
I don't lie awake at night thinking about solutions for high stakes cash games.
Well, guys, that's all we got. If you want to ask Rob something, you can go on Twitter, give it to him in a constructive way, and you might get a response. He also posts a lot of polls on there if you'd like to give your feedback. Sometimes he does some giveaways as well, too. And that's it. I'll be back with a video probably tomorrow, but for sure, podcast Monday, Nick Schulman, podcast Tuesday, Scott Seaver, podcast Wednesday, Fader Holes. That's it. Rob, thanks for coming on, brother. Nice talking with you again, man.
Anytime. Cool.
All right. Peace.